Hi everyone, I just wanted to go over with you how to make a Google form that will self-grade and will let you, you could use it as a per-unit survey, or you can expand what I go over with you here and make this into a breakout room or a full assessment, or really just lots of things with Google Forms. It's one of my favorite tools in the Google Suite. So when you're in your Drive, you're going to go head over to New and then down to Google Forms. And so for those of you who are new to Google Forms, up here is your title. It will match up with whatever title is in your Google form. We have our first question. It populates for us. The responses section is where you would go to see your answers. You can see them as a spreadsheet, or once you have answers, you will see options to see individually or to see summaries, and you can look at pie charts and things. Up here, some of the most used tools are your customize theme option, where you can choose different images and colors, change your fonts. So lots of different things you can do. I'll change this. When you change your header, it automatically pulls up colors that go with that header image. And if I move myself, you can change your background color and change your font style. So there are a couple options there. You can also upload your own image, and if you do, then you want that to be a 1600 by 400 pixel image. And the program Forms will still pull the color options from whatever image you put in, so that everything stays nice and visually pleasing. You also have a preview button up here, and then your settings, which we will use quite a bit, and the snowman, which is what I call the 3 dots. And this gives you some more options with preferences and making copies, etc. Under settings, some of the options we have are to collect email addresses, response receipts, restrict users to your organization. This is nice for a classroom, but if you want something with parent feedback, you want to make sure that's unchecked. And then if this is something that students can improve on, you want to make sure they can edit. And if it's, let's say, a class poll or a class survey, you might want to let them see those summary charts and text responses. The presentation, you can have them show a progress bar. If you're doing a test or an assessment with lots of questions, this can be helpful. And if it's something, sometimes you could have, if there are presentations happening, students could be responding and reviewing the presentation. And when it's done, if you click show link to submit another response, they can just automatically click it and get ready for their next presentation. You can also make this a quiz format, so it can self-grade or auto-grade. You can have point values assigned. If you make it a quiz, students can see the missed questions, correct answers, and point values if you would like them to. And you can choose the release grade if you would like. So those are all options. I like the quiz format because it auto-grades, and I especially like it for a pre-unit survey to see what the students know or don't know. And then I like letting them see what the missed questions are so they can see the amount that they still need to learn. It's also great for quizzes prior to big assessments as a student review. I don't have to put in the grade in Canvas, but they can see how they would do on similar questions. So if you are making a quiz or a form, one thing you want to do is, of course, title the form. So I'm going to call this a pre-survey to, let's see what you know. I'm going to have it collect email addresses because I want to know which students are responding. My first question, so let's talk about the question forms in the body of the form. On the right side is what I call the floating sidebar. Our first option is to add a question, import questions, add titles and descriptions, add an image, add a video, and add a section. When we look at the questions, this is where your question will go. You can also change the question. It could be a short answer. Obviously, the short answers don't always self-grade, but we'll show you how you can if they're very short answers. Paragraphs, you will have to grade yourself. Check boxes, drop downs. You can have multiple choice grids, check box grid. So lots of options there. One thing I do, I often have questions pre-made in other quizzes, other forms, etc. So if you have other forms, you can import those questions. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to import all of these actually. So that is a nice way of doing things. I can pull in questions, different types, different things. Let's see. I'm going to start my question with student name. I want students to do their first name, last name. And you'll see that when I put student name, it automatically detected that this is probably a typing response, and it changed it to short answer. It is required, so students must answer this to submit. But I added the description so they could see that I want first name, last name. And then after this, I'm going to have a section to move on to the questions. So sections are a nice way of separating your test, of chunking the work so that students aren't overwhelmed. You can also have this separate by topic. In a breakout room, you can require students, they must get the correct answer in order to see the next breakout room. So that provides sort of a gamification aspect to your forms. If you have lots of sections, you can decide which section they'll go to. So a couple different options there. So with these questions, I have what does alliteration mean? This is one that I pulled in, and this one has an answer key. So when I click answer key, it lets me pick which one is correct. I can change the point value, and that's because under my settings, I have it set as make this a quiz. My second question is a short response, but it does validate the answer. It requires the answer. So how many syllables are in the word metaphor? I want this to be a numerical answer, not the word. And I have that because I've asked for a description. So my first drop down, I set up to be numbers. My second drop down equal 2, and then I type in the answer, so 3. And then if it is incorrect, then they get this message, oops, try again. You can make that whatever you want, and it's required. Okay. The response validation won't let them move past it if it is incorrect. And so if you are doing a breakout room, that's a very good option to have. If you want it to be just a pre-survey, then you can turn off the response validation, and it will just mark it right or wrong. This is one of my favorite types of questions. It's the multiple choice grid. And so I have examples of figurative language along with the types of figurative language in my rows and columns. The answer key sets up which one is right and wrong. And then I require a response in every row. And great job. And so this is how mine will end. So it has 3 pages. And we can preview this. Take a look. So just my survey. Student name, Sally Smith. I'm going to, let's say I don't know this one, so I'll put exaggeration. Metaphor, let's say I'll say 3 because it's 3. Now let's say Sally sold seashells. Alliteration, the teacher was a beast. I don't know, maybe that's a simile. Never in a million years, maybe that's a metaphor. Her name was like daggers, that seems like an exaggeration, so I guess they hyperbole. Some of these are wrong, but I want you to see what the answers look like. Now I finished, so I can submit. And then I can view my accuracy. So as a student, I can see which ones were incorrect. As a teacher, now I see that I have 1 response. I can see a summary. The summaries are much more interesting when you have a lot of responses. I can see it by question. And I can also see it individually. When I look at the spreadsheet, I can create a new spreadsheet, or I can add this to a spreadsheet. And then here, you'll see I have my timestamp, email address, the student, and then I see their responses. So this is a really great way for me to quickly collect data and see how the students are doing on topics, whatever those topics are. All right, and then last thing, when you have your quiz, you have to send it. Someone has to do it. So if you click send, you have a few options. You can email it to someone. This is best for just 1 or 2 students if you're sending it. You can send a link. And this can be embedded in an email, and if you send a mass email to Canvas, if you are sending it to a group in Gmail, you can also embed this within a Canvas page. So if you copy this, you can change your Canvas page into an HTML and embed it right inside the page, so they are staying within the windows you want them to stay in. All right, I hope that helped. Please let me know if you have any questions.